I'm back on my porch swing because it's a beautiful day and it's been a very long winter and I want to be outside in the wind, blowing my hair all over the place, and in the sunshine and enjoying the warmth, and I intend to enjoy every minute of it. But I figured this would be a good time to share my story. So I'm not going to go all the way back into my childhood because I would like this video to not be 31 years long, but I will start in the stuff that's pertinent to you guys. And that is when I was in college. My husband and I had been married. We were married in June. That December, I was 19 years old. I guess at that point I was 20 years old. Yeah, I was 20. And we came home, and my family has a tradition where we love to do some sort of humanitarian work on Christmas. So that Christmas, it was serving at a soup kitchen in Seattle. So we went over, took the ferry over. I'm from west of Seattle originally. We took the ferry over, and we went to the soup kitchen to be serving this food. Well, while we were preparing the food, I had already felt a little bit nervous. It was getting darker, and we had walked through some parts of Seattle that felt a little bit shady to me and my 20-year-old self. See, it's gloriously windy. Windy feels so magic to me, so magical. It feels like, I don't know, maybe it's just from watching Wizard of Oz as a kid, which I guess was a tornado, so that doesn't seem very magical. But the point being, so we went over to Seattle, and we were over and prepping the food, and like I said, I'd already been feeling a little bit nervous. And as we were in the building, we kind of heard just a little bit of a ruckus outside and some yelling. It kind of sounded like some fights were starting outside, which they had been. There were just a few men that were getting angry, they were hungry, and they were wanting to come into the building, and so they had started just kind of yelling, pushing each other, and throwing some fists. So in that moment, all of a sudden, I felt this big warm rush, cold rush through my body, and my vision just started to tunnel. Now, for some of you, you're like, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're having a panic attack. And I was, but I had never had one before, so I didn't actually know. I didn't know what it was or what was going on. So I was there with my family, and my sister-in-law was a nurse, and she immediately looked at me, and she goes, "Are you okay?" I said, I can't see. She goes, "You're having a panic attack. It's okay, just sit down." She was really sweet. She rubbed my hand and just kind of helped me to relax and told me to just take slow, deep breaths through my nose and out my mouth. And I did, and as I did, my vision, just the tunnel went away, and it restored, and it was all good. And I thought it was all done. I was like, hey, one-off panic attack, not fun, but that's okay, right? Well, that was not the last of it. I ended up going back to college with my husband, and for the next 2 weeks in class, every time I would raise my hand, I would have a panic attack every single time. Well, I really loved school, and I really loved being part of class, and I really loved raising my hand. So it was a lot of panic attacks just over and over, and I just have to put my hand down because I would experience this panic attack. And it just kept going, and it just got worse every day. We eventually went to the doctor because I thought there was a problem with my heart. Long story short, there wasn't. It was just complete anxiety. So you fast forward a few weeks into the semester. I then, at that point, it got so bad that I withdrew from school. My husband withdrew. We sold our contract to our apartment. We sold everything we owned. We sold our car there. And I was back living at home with my parents as a newlywed. Super fun with my husband. And I was laying in bed and couldn't get out of bed. I was just in there every single day, and was really just mentally and emotionally paralyzed and physically just absolutely drained. So I lived with my parents for a few months with my husband. It was just a challenging time, to say the least. It was just debilitating. The anxiety was just so intense and so challenging, and it's given me so much compassion for people who experience that, because there's so many things that you can logically understand them, but there is this incredible thing, and I feel like it is just absolutely just a beautiful grace of God in our life here, that as we experience challenges, we can empathize with people in a way that is so bonding that we cannot when we haven't experienced them. And that has definitely been my case with anxiety. So kind of how did I get out of that? Because like I said, it was to the point where I was just in bed. I couldn't say yes to anything. I could get out of bed long enough to go downstairs, get a piece of whole wheat toast with butter, and make myself a cup of homemade hot chocolate. And I'd take it back up, eat it and drink it, and that's like all I would eat and drink all day. Had some water, and I couldn't do anything. And this lasted for quite a while until I started going to counseling. Went to counseling for a few months, and it was really incredible and really helpful for me. Well, it didn't all just go away. It wasn't just done all of a sudden. I took anxiety medication for a while. I didn't find it very effective for me personally. And so continued to take that, a small dose, for I think it was a couple years, but didn't really see a huge improvement because of that. But the biggest thing that really helped change things and change my life was really looking into my belief systems. Now, I'm not just saying a religious belief systems. I'm saying how I view everything in life. My beliefs around who I am, why I'm here, the nature of life, the purpose of life, my purpose as a person, my relationships with other people, my views and beliefs about money, my views and beliefs about my body, my views and beliefs about God, my parents, everything, really looking at these belief systems. That has been, I would say, the biggest thing that has helped me to be able to completely overcome anxiety, to the point where I wouldn't consider myself as having anxiety anymore. I get stressed like any normal person does, but I don't feel anxious. I don't get that sensation anymore. I no longer have panic attacks, and I haven't for years and years. I continued to for a few years after kind of that original bout of anxiety that happened, kind of that original episode, but it has continued to trail off as I've been able to shift my belief systems. So why tell this whole story? For one, for hope, to help you realize, some of you who might be really struggling with anxiety or depression or these different things that are really significantly challenging, can be completely debilitating, that this is something I've been through, and this is something I've been able to work through and overcome, to the point where I'm so grateful for those experiences. Sometimes when we're in the thick of it, we don't feel like we could ever be grateful for it because it's so painful, so painful, but we can. So I want to help be a voice of hope for that, for any of you who are struggling with that. The other thing is to help you recognize that there really are things we can do. It's not a personal flaw that you struggle with something like that. Any sort of mental illness, even any addiction, any of these things that can just completely just squeeze us dry of life and the beauty and joy in life, it is not a personal character flaw in you. Sometimes you just need to update your beliefs. One of the things that Peter Sage really says that I love is he talks about our belief systems as an outfit that we're wearing, and how so many of us, we have this outfit from when we're a child or when we're a teenager. But let's say you had this outfit that you loved when you were like 9 years old, because so many of us do. For me, it was like this dress, and I think it probably had a million stains in it and probably holes all over it, and I still remember when I finally had to throw it away, and it was a sad thing for me because I loved that dress so much. Well, I'm in my 30s now, right? So do I still wear the dress that I wore when I was 8, 9, 10 years old? Of course not. No, I don't. This is not the sweater that I wore when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. Because we update our clothing, right? We update our wardrobe, because as we physically change, we update our clothing because it will no longer fit us. But why don't we do that with our belief systems? Why do we continue wearing the same belief system that we've had since we were 8, 9, 10, or 16, 17, 18, or 25, 26, 27? We're meant to learn and grow and change and metamorphosize and evolve and all of these beautiful adjectives that mean to progress. We're meant to do that. We can't do that if we're holding on to the same beliefs that we had from years and years and years ago, especially the disempowering ones. And we're going to talk a lot about that in other videos, about how so many beliefs that we hold on to thinking they are real or true or fact are disempowering, and we don't have to.